Welcome to the deep dive. And wow, looking at our sources today, the pace of change is it's really staggering.
It is. We're seeing history being rewritten by, massive financial plays, some surprising tech setbacks, and these fundamental shifts in the global workforce.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really give you a deep dive into what we're calling the AI bonanza.
That's the perfect term for it. And we need to contrast this monumental infrastructure investment, the billions being poured into compute power, with the surprisingly practical results we're seeing.
Right, like in fields like high-frequency trading. And all of this is happening while these huge global economic and political shifts are underway.
Yeah. So for you, we've pulled together an amazing stack of information. We're going to cover everything from the future of cloud computing to the NBA, even the price of luxury liquor.
Let's unpack it all, starting right where the money is moving. This massive compute arms race.
And that race is really defined by one new, just staggering number: 7 years and $38 billion.
38 billion.
That's the new cloud computing agreement between OpenAI and Amazon Web Services.
So this is, it's a foundational move, isn't it? It's OpenAI's first big cloud partnership outside of Microsoft Azure.
It is. And it gives them extensive access to all the NVIDIA GPUs they need to train their next generation of models. They're just securing the raw compute power.
What's really fascinating, though, is the strategic gain for Amazon in all this.
Oh, absolutely. This deal instantly positions AWS as a massive, direct, and really essential rival to Microsoft and Google in that AI infrastructure stack.
By becoming the backbone provider for the world's most, talked about AI development.
Exactly. Amazon has established itself as an indispensable resource. This isn't just an investment, it's a consolidation of power.
Okay, but then, almost immediately after this huge multi-billion-dollar bet on the future of compute, we get a corporate reality check.
A big one.
Amazon announced job cuts. The numbers could reach 30,000 employees, hitting mostly white-collar roles.
In cloud computing, HR, logistics, it's noted as the largest reduction in the company's entire history.
This feels like a true watershed moment.
It is. For decades, the whole conversation around automation was centered on manufacturing blue-collar jobs.
And now AI is hitting middle management and knowledge workers first.
And when one of the world's biggest, most tech-savvy employers does this, it normalizes it. Others will follow, and they'll all cite the need for AI-driven efficiency.
But does that actually hold up? Our sources point to a pretty critical counterpoint.
Right.
60% of firms are reporting minimal returns despite substantial AI investment.
So you have maximum layoffs coinciding with minimal confirmed returns.
It raises a huge question, doesn't it? Is AI really driving these cuts through proven efficiency? Or is it just convenient corporate cover for, traditional cost cutting?
That tension, that gap between the promise of AI and its current measurable efficiency, that's the defining economic story right now.
And while the U.S. is grappling with that workforce reckoning, we're seeing a really different competitive response in China.
Yeah, focusing on infrastructure that completely redefines efficiency.
Instead of pouring billions into conventional data centers, the sources are highlighting China's new commercial wind-powered underwater data center.
It's such a profound philosophical counterpoint. By submerging the centers, they're using cool ocean currents for natural cooling.
That alone must save a huge amount of energy.
The claim is 90% energy savings for cooling and 30% less total electricity consumption than land-based centers.
Wow.
And what's more, over 95% of its power comes from nearby offshore wind farms. So they're saving on water, on land, and on energy.
It's a pivot toward radical sustainability as a competitive edge.
And it contrasts so sharply with the massive brute force compute approach we're seeing here.
Okay, that is a fascinating dichotomy. So let's transition from that infrastructure arms race to the real-world results. Time for an AI reality check.
And this is where general purpose AI got a pretty significant humility check: the Alpha Arena trading competition.
Right. This concluded in November. It pitted 6 of the leading large language models against each other in real crypto trading, all starting with the same virtual capital.
And the results were, well, they were genuinely striking. Alibaba's Qwen 3 Max was the winner.
And crucially, only Qwen 3 Max and DeepSeek, both Chinese models, finished the competition with a profit.
Which means the US-based generalists, GPT-5, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and Grok 4 all ended with losses.
So it seems like discipline and specialization mattered way more than raw processing speed.
That's the key insight. Qwen 3 Max won by making just 43 highly disciplined trades over 17 days.
43 trades. That's it.
Yeah, it suggests that in these high-stakes, volatile financial environments, a model designed narrowly for risk management and disciplined execution just massively trumps the general intelligence of the bigger, more hyped models.
It really challenges the premise of what we were just talking about then. If a specialized model making minimal trades wins, what does that say about the $38 billion bet on maximizing generalized compute power?
It's the core tension. And, the creators of these general models are actively trying to manage that gap between capability and liability.
Which brings us to OpenAI's ChatGPT usage policy update from late October.
They're trying to draw a really hard line, strictly prohibiting the AI from providing medical, legal, or other professional advice.
The new guidance says ChatGPT only explains principles, outlines general mechanisms, and tells you to talk to a doctor, lawyer, or financial professional.
They're trying to limit their legal exposure as the AI gets smarter, so they explicitly prohibit it from doing things like naming medications, giving dosages, providing lawsuit templates.
But the reality is a bit different.
The observed reality suggests the AI's capability has already surpassed its legal comfort zone.
Right. Testing confirmed that while the models now include these mandatory disclaimers, ChatGPT still provides extensive legal help, like drafting employment contracts.
So it's a high-stakes game of regulatory catch-up. Liability is going to define the next phase of this AI rollout.
Okay, moving on, let's look at how global innovation and economic power are shifting. The 2025 Global Innovation Index is a great place to start.
The top of the index is pretty stable. Switzerland ranked first for the 15th year in a row,
Followed by Sweden, the US, and South Korea. But the big headline was the China shift.
China broke into the top 10 for the very first time, ranking 10th and displacing Germany, which fell to 11th.
And it's not just ranking. China contributed about a quarter of all international patent applications in 2024. That signals immense state-supported R&D capability.
But if we connect this rise in innovative power to the economic climate on the ground, you see this fascinating contradiction.
How so?
While China is dominating in global innovation, its domestic consumer economy is facing a really serious crunch.
And that's creating challenges for Western and domestic brands alike. The most visible example has to be Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. Selling a controlling stake up to 60% of its China operations to Boyu Capital. It's a $4 billion divestment deal.
And the reason is just it's a market collapse for them. Their market share plummeted from 34% in 2019 to just 14% in 2024.
A direct consequence of fierce competition from cheaper local chains like Luckin Coffee, plus the broader economic slowdown making consumers very price-sensitive.
And it isn't just foreign brands. The sources detail this crisis hitting the high-end Baijiu industry.
For listeners who might not be familiar, Baijiu is China's potent green liquor. It's historically tied to official gifting, celebration status.
And the industry leader, Kwai just posted its slowest profit growth since 2015.
This crisis is really rooted in deep economic and cultural shifts. It started with the 2012 anti-corruption crackdown, which kind of decimated the lavish official banquet circuit.
And now, the sustained economic weakness, the real estate collapse, it's all devastated the key places where this liquor was traditionally consumed.
And to make matters worse, younger Chinese consumers are just rejecting that old status-driven drinking culture.
The result is a pretty dramatic price collapse, right?
Huge. Wholesale prices for fashion mutai crashed from speculative peaks of, say, 3,500 yuan down to around 1,900, a 40% plunge in what was once a rock-solid luxury investment.
These economic pressures, layoffs, consumption collapse, financial volatility, they often breed a political demand for stability.
Which brings us briefly to New York City politics.
We should definitely recognize the rise of Zohran Mamdani, who at 34 just became New York City's first Muslim mayor.
His win was really powered by a hyper-local, populist platform focused intensely on affordability.
Free childcare, rent freezes, free buses. He mobilized young voters who are demanding that kind of stability.
And if you connect this back to the global trends, the chaos created by this disruptive tech, the electorate is essentially demanding a political hedge against that volatility.
And the scale of this win is massive. This position oversees a $120 billion budget and a $1.3 trillion GDP.
Exactly. Now let's track that theme of volatility and value into some other markets as we shift to our final segment.
Okay, let's start with one of the most volatile markets of all, the digital collector's economy. Specifically, the CS2 market after Valve's October update.
This was a genuine market crash. The update let players craft high-value knives from common skins, which, immediately replaced exclusivity with access.
Triggering a $272 million market crash in just hours. Butterfly knife prices, which could trade for tens of thousands of dollars, crashed 28% instantly.
But the volatility created a new market just as fast. While the collector knives were melting down, the crafting fuel, those red-tier covert skins like the P90 Asimov, surged 1,400%.
Demand for the ingredients just exploded. It's a perfect microcosm of how quickly digital value can be destroyed and created.
And we can contrast that digital crash with a revival in, actual physical wealth. The California gold rush is seeing a revival.
Driven by gold prices hitting an all-time high of over $4,380 an ounce.
It's a fascinating combination. You have people using high-tech metal detectors and social media to literally find physical nuggets in the hills of Northern California.
So the digital economy is sort of collapsing in on itself while the literal gold standard is surging.
Yeah. Now, shifting to a bit of cosmic wonder, let's touch on Comet 3 ILS.
Only the third interstellar object ever observed. What made this one so unique?
Well, its behavior was wonderfully puzzling. It showed this unusual acceleration that couldn't be caused by gravity alone, and it turned distinctly blue near the sun, brightened rapidly. It just defied conventional celestial expectations. A real mystery.
And for us on the ground, we also just had the closest supermoon of 2025, the Beaver Moon, right?
Peaking on November 5th, yeah. A nice little terrestrial reminder.
All right, finally, let's turn to some incredible feats of human performance. The 2025 New York City Marathon.
Helen Obiri set a new women's course record at 2:19.51. She shattered a 22-year-old record.
And the men's race was the closest finish in the history of the race.
Separated by just 0.03 of a second. But maybe the most eye-popping statistic of all comes from the NBA.
Luka Doncic.
Yes. He became only the third player in NBA history to score 200 points through his first 5 games.
The averages are just insane. 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 9.2 assists through that stretch.
To put that in perspective, he surpassed Michael Jordan and is trailing only Wilt Chamberlain. This is a statistical output we haven't seen consistently since the 1960s.
It's a spectacular run, history being rewritten right there on the court.
So what an incredible stack of information we've covered.
It really is. We've charted these massive centralized power plays like the $38 billion AW Open AI deal. And at the same time, we've seen these localized, unexpected victories. Q3 Max dominating and trading, Zoran Mamdani in politics.
We are, without a doubt, moving into an era where innovation is measured not just by investment dollars, but by application results.
The profitable, highly specialized LLMs.
And by adaptation. Whether that's radical green infrastructure like underwater data centers or, political responsiveness to economic volatility.
It brings us right back to that central contradiction of the AI bonanza. So here's a final provocative thought for you to consider.
Okay.
We've seen extreme white-collar labor disruption with the Amazon job cuts. Yet our sources also highlight extreme consumer spending shopping events generating over $150 billion. As AI fundamentally reshapes jobs and investment focuses so intensely on efficiency, how quickly will consumer cultures and the very definition of personal wealth be forced to adapt to this new economic volatility that technology is creating?